Well, as we have said from day one, and I've warned from day one, as a lot of folks have, this conflict in the Middle East, it could blow up and become a regional war quite easily. Now, the Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah threatens further escalation along the Lebanon-Israeli border. In televised remarks made today, Nasrallah stopped short of announcing a full-scale war, but says, quote, "We already entered the battle on October 8th," and warns that the group is prepared for all options, including broadening the scope of fighting. The Lebanese militant group has been fighting with Israeli forces on the border since Hamas launched its attack last month. This as U.S. intelligence learns that Syria has agreed to provide Hezbollah with Russian-made missile defense systems via the Russian Wagner Group. The U.S. has warned Hezbollah and other Iranian-backed proxy militias against entering the war, moving warships to the Mediterranean as a deterrent to carrier battle groups, which means we could have a sustained air war. That's what it means. One group means be warned. Two groups means we're really serious. Joining me live to discuss this for Deputy Chief of Staff for the National Security Council under President Donald Trump and host of Special Report right here on Real America's Voice, Tara Dahl. Tara, nice to see you on a Friday.
Good to see you, Steve.
Now, we've seen the Israelis, the IDF has gone into Gaza now. They're using robots and other means to clear those tunnels, 300 miles or more of massive reinforced tunnels that Hamas has used to attack Israel and protect itself. Israel's not backing down. They're taking the fight to them. And I think if Hezbollah comes calling, Israel will have something for them as well. But it's a dangerous situation, isn't it?
No, it is, Steve. And speaking of Hassan Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah today, he was threatening the United States again. And we're just hearing reports now within the last hour that U.S. base in Syria, northern Syria, has also been hit again today. So that would mark the 26th attack now on U.S. bases throughout the region in northern Iraq, Syria, in the region. And so that's what is happening today with the Hezbollah leader's speech, is that he was threatening to, if Israel does not retreat out of Gaza, that they're going to escalate the attack. Well, the interesting thing is as you know, we have Secretary Blinken there today, and he was calling on Israel to have a ceasefire, and he was calling it to be a humanitarian pause, right? But we know it's a ceasefire. And thankfully, Netanyahu said, no, we're not going to have a ceasefire, because if they had a ceasefire, it'd only allow Hamas to be able to get more humanitarian aid, while it would pause Israel from being able to continue their operations against Hamas, and Hamas would be able to continue in their fight. And so Israel is making extreme headways, as you mentioned, in Gaza. They're encircling, I believe they're moving from the north down to the south of Gaza. And so they're taking out Hamas leaders every single day. And I was so happy, Steve, to see Netanyahu today come out and say, no, we're not going to do a ceasefire. We're not going to do a humanitarian pause unless Hamas releases all of the hostages.
Yeah, and and that really put the Biden administration in a corner from the last 24 hours, as you saw. John Kirby and others trying to explain why Joe Biden came out and said he had negotiated a pause with Netanyahu, something that never actually happened. And now they just look like, well, they look foolish again. But I am concerned that Hezbollah comes in because it will widen the war. And then if Iran tries to make a move, look, this war started in Gaza, but I have believed from day one it ends in Tehran. And there is nothing that I'm seeing here, Tara, that it gives me any indication that that's not the case, because in order to stop Hamas, Hezbollah, the other Iranian-backed militias, you have to go to the source, and the source is the mullahs in Tehran. I don't see how we avoid that. What are your thoughts?
No, absolutely. You're completely right. I agree with you. And I think when you look at what Israel has said, the head of Mossad back at the beginning of September, he came out and he warned Iran. He warned the Ayatollahs, and he said, if there is one Israeli that is injured in terrorist attacks, and this was before October 7th, before Hamas attacked, he said that we will hit the heart of Tehran. We will come after the Ayatollahs. And I think they're going to. I think, Steve, from the sources that I talked to, I think that they are going after Hamas in Gaza, but they won't stop there. I think you will see retaliatory attacks against Iran, because for an absolute fact that Iran is behind Hezbollah. attacking Israel, and Hezbollah is still attacking Israel. They're launching rockets every single day from the north. In Lebanon and Syria, you have the Iranian-backed Houthis. So Iraqi Iranian-backed proxies are attacking. So I hope they do. I hope they do go after the Ayatollahs, and I hope they do go after Iran.
Well, we'll see what happens. Of course, there's a political problem for the Democrats at home, and that is what we talked about to top the program today. Democrats, in their pursuit of special interest groups, well, they've made promises to the Jewish community and they made promises to the Arab and Muslim community. They can't keep both happy here. It's going to have political problems for them. And then Mike Johnson, the new Speaker of the House, shepherded through a new, $15.3 billion bill to fund the Israelis that Joe Biden says he's going to veto if it gets through the Senate. That is, if Chuck Schumer, the highest-ranked Jewish member of Congress ever in America, takes up the bill, and that's not clear that he'll do that. Democrats have a huge political problem on their hands because of this war, because of the promises that they have made to both sides. I'll give you the last word.
No, and I think what you're going to see is the White House they will veto it because they want to have Ukrainian funds and Israel funds put together because they know they can't have Ukraine funds separately, and American taxpayers are really tired of funding the war in Ukraine. So I think they will push back on it.
I guess we'll find out. Tara Dahl, greatly appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you as well. All right. A reminder, Real America's Voice will be bringing you the Florida Freedom Summit. It will feature speeches from the top Republican presidential candidates. It'll start at 10 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. You don't want to miss this one. It's a big one. It'll be right here, beginning at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Now, coming up after the break, Florida Senator Rick Scott. He picked his horse. He endorsed Donald Trump for president, urging fellow Republicans to do the same so they can get on to going after Joe Biden. We'll dive into that next on America's Voice Live.